Step softly. Listen closely. We're currently deep in the heart of a dense, unforgiving jungle. The air is thick, the shadows, they're long. Welcome to this explainer. We are embarking on a thrilling wildlife safari today, but, well, this isn't your typical nature documentary. We're exploring a survival guide unlike any other, drawn straight from the pages of Carolyn Wells's incredibly famous poem, How to Tell Wild Animals.
Imagine you're walking all alone, twigs snapping under your feet, and suddenly a huge, terrifying animal appears right in front of you. Would you actually know which animal it is? Take a second, think about it. Well, thankfully, Carolyn Wells has given us what is probably the funniest, most absurd survival guide ever written to identify these deadly beasts. So let's step into the wild and see if her advice will actually save us, or, just make us laugh right before the end.
Look closely through that thicket over there. Our very first encounter is in the deep jungles of the East. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the East, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast, if he roars at you as you're dying, you'll know it is the Asian lion.
So the poet describes the Asian lion as a tawny beast. Tawny basically just means a brownish yellow color. But you have to notice the incredibly dark, twisted humor here. According to Wells, the only way you know for absolutely sure that it's an Asian lion is if its roar is so terrifying that you are literally dying of fear. And this right here brilliantly illustrates a concept called poetic license. Notice how she spells dying as D-Y-I-N apostrophe. She intentionally drops the G so that Dian rhymes perfectly with lion. It's clever, right? So I have to ask you, if you met this roaring, tawny animal out there, what would happen? Well, you'd probably figure out its name just a second too late.
Let's move a little deeper into the tall grass. Or if sometime when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you, with black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern.
You really have to notice the remarkably casual tone she uses for such a lethal predator. She literally calls the Bengal tiger a noble wild beast. The vocabulary here is super important for your exams. Ground means background, so black stripes on a yellow background, and discern just means to make out or identify. But honestly, the absolute peak of humor here is her simple rule for identifying this majestic creature. Just notice if he eats you. मतलब, अगर वो तुम्हें खा गया, तो पक्का Bengal tiger था. The sheer absurdity of identifying an animal by, letting it eat you is just hilarious. If you met this animal, I highly suggest not using this specific method to discern it.
Okay, look up into the branches above us. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, as soon as he has leapt on you, you'll know it is the leopard. 'Twill do no good to roar with pain. He'll only leap and leap again.
The absolutely crucial point here is the relentless, bounding rhythm of the leopard. Our glossary tells us that hide means animal skin, and peppered means covered with spots. But wait, notice the specific spelling here, leapt and lep. Just like with the lion earlier, this is poetic license in action. Carolyn Wells deliberately spells leap incorrectly to maintain that bouncy rhythmic meter of the poem. It makes a terrifying, relentless attack sound almost like a playful little dance. It's pure dark comedy. Crying out in pain won't do a thing. He'll just keep leaping on you. If you met this peppered beast leaping down from a tree, what would happen? You'd quickly realize that crying is entirely useless.
Let's take a breath and step out of the deep jungle and into somewhere totally unexpected. Your very own home. If when you're walking around your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess, he'll give you just one more caress. Imagine you're just chilling in your cozy, safe yard and you get a hug. Now, a bear hug is a super popular expression for a friendly, strong hug. But in real life, a real bear squeezing you very hard is a fatal attack. The poet uses the word caress, which literally means a gentle, loving touch. Equating a deadly bear mauling to a gentle, loving caress is incredibly ironic. The harsh reality of the danger completely clashes with this weirdly humorous, affectionate version. So if you met this creature in your yard, how would you feel about that final caress?
Moving on, we now encounter two real tricksters of the wild. Listen carefully. Though to distinguish beasts of prey a novice might nonplus, the crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep they're crocodiles.
Pay attention here because this is a highly testable phrase for your exams. A novice might nonplus. A novice is someone brand new to a job, and to be nonplussed means to be completely puzzled or confused. Grammatically speaking, it's actually an incorrect line, but the poet uses it anyway so it perfectly fits the rhyme scheme with the word thus. Here, Wells is totally playing with popular myths. A hyena's call sounds just like a human's merry smile or laugh. And the myth of crocodile tears, it suggests they literally weep while swallowing their victims. She uses these bizarre emotional tells to distinguish them. So if you met a pretty that was smiling or crying at you, would you actually know which was which?
Finally, let's look really closely at that tree branch over there. The true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all, and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, 'tis the chameleon you see.
This stanza brilliantly illustrates the ultimate punchline of our entire safari. Biologically, we know a chameleon uses camouflage to blend into its surroundings, right? But the poet takes this literally to the absolute extreme. She says, if you look at a tree and see absolutely nothing, well, that nothing is the chameleon. CBSC actually loves asking questions about this specific stanza because it plays a really clever visual trick on the reader. It contrasts the physical description, small, no ears, no wings, with its magical ability to just completely vanish. If you stared at an empty tree, would you ever realize you were actually looking at a chameleon?
Section 1. The Poet's Secret Weapons. Unpacking the humor. Let's see exactly how Carolyn Wells makes a poem about being eaten alive so incredibly funny.
Notice the stark contrast we have here. On one side, we have reality. These are deadly, terrifying predators. If you meet them, you are in extreme danger. But on the other side, we have the poetic imagination. In the poem, the encounters are described as casual, polite, and honestly completely absurd. And this is achieved through two main tools. First up, irony, like describing a deadly bear attack as a gentle caress. Second is exaggeration, like claiming you only identify a lion because its roar literally kills you on the spot. The hushed, serious reality of a nature documentary completely clashes with her nonchalant, goofy imagination.
Section 2. Board Exam Masterclass. Themes and Devices. For the focused learners out there, let's lock in the exact elements you need to crush your upcoming tests.
Let's look at the actual mechanics of the poem. First, observe the rhyme scheme. Every single stanza follows a strict ABABCC pattern. This steady, bouncy rhythm makes the poem feel lighthearted, even though the subject matter is, well, pretty morbid. Next is poetic license. As we discussed, dropping the G in dying to rhyme with lion, or intentionally misspelling leapt and lep to maintain that bounding rhythm. Finally, alliteration, which is the repetition of consonant sounds, like roaming round in the tiger stanza. These devices are the exact tools that build the poem's comedic, mocking tone.
All right, buckle up. Let's do a high-energy 60-second rapid-fire jungle revision. Number 1. The Asian lion, identified by a terrifying roar as you're dying. 2. The Bengal tiger, identified by its yellow ground and black stripes, right as he eats you. 3. The leopard, a peppered hide that will lep and lep again. 4. The bear, will give you a very hard, fatal hug and a gentle caress. 5. The tricksters, hyenas with merry smiles, and crocodiles that weep. And 6. The chameleon, the small lizard you identify by seeing absolutely nothing on the tree.
To wrap up our explainer, make sure you prepare for the top expected board questions, beyond the ones we just covered, like the meaning of nonplus and the irony in the tiger stanza. Ensure you also review the central theme, tone, and competency-based scenarios. Ultimately, guys, this poem isn't really teaching us wildlife facts, it's teaching us that humor can make learning completely unforgettable. Keep that in mind the next time you find yourself strolling through the jungles of your textbook.